Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Jay, and welcome to the Ship Life. So we have a lot to unpack for today's cruise news, but the good thing is that all of it is really great, exciting, and happy news. Well, except for one piece of news. It depends on how you look at it. Kind of comes down to personal preference, which I'll explain in the video. But before we get started, I know a lot of you have been asking about my trip over here in Playa del Carmen. Most of you know that I went over to Cancun to go see my dentist. I'm also here for an international breakdance event across the way from Cozumel called Paradise Battle. There are a lot of international breakdancers, some of the best in the world here. I've been competing. Unfortunately, I didn't make it in the one-on-one category. There were over 160 B-boys and B-girls. That's the breakdance term that we use, from literally all over the world. And yeah, they picked from out of those 160 people, top 16. I wasn't getting in. And if I did, I would have been scared. And I would have lost very badly. However, I am in the group category today. We're in the top 8, so this will determine who is actually going to win the actual event. I will show some clips because I know a lot of you were asking about it. But anyway, for today's video, we do have a quick update from Carnival Cruise Lines. Nothing crazy, nothing fancy. However, it is a change that will be implemented starting tomorrow as far as their health and safety protocols. We also have a good update on the Carnival Celebration. This is a highly anticipated ship. It will be the newest ship for Carnival Cruise Lines. Also, an update from Royal Caribbean. They are planning to have 100% occupancy on their ships for a certain market, so not the entire fleet. But either way, this is still good news. Then we got to talk about Australia, as they are in talks finally to resume operations over in that area in the not so distant future. Potentially, that is. So starting with some Carnival Cruise Line news, they have announced that starting tomorrow, which is February 14th, aka Valentine's Day, they will finally allow smoking to return to the casinos. So for all of you non-smokers out there, I hope you enjoyed the time while it lasted. Now, there are some caveats to the smokers. If you are going to smoke in the casinos on board Carnival ships, you have to be sitting down, and you also have to be playing some kind of game over in that area, whether it be the slots or poker, none of which I'm very good at. This is why I don't gamble. Now, they have also kind of reinforced and tightened up somewhat their masking policy on board as well, which is extremely surprising to me because of all of the easing of restrictions going on with NCL ships and Royal Caribbean ships. They have stated that if anybody is sailing on board their cruise ships is 2 and up, they have to wear a face mask at all times indoors unless they are eating or in their stateroom. They also highly encourage that everybody wears an KN95 mask. Now, just to somewhat weigh in on the situation with smoking, I know that naturally a lot of people are going to be kind of divided 50-50. However, we all know that as far as we can all remember, when it comes to smoking and casinos, they kind of play together. A lot of people are usually pretty on edge, stressed out. They need to kind of take the load off. So a lot of people decide to grab a cigarette, smoke a cigar, or whatever it is in the casino while they're playing their slot machines, which is kind of understandable. Now, just keep in mind though, on the newer Carnival ships, like of course the Mardi Gras, and then the Celebration, when she debuts, they will have a smaller non-smoking section, which I think does appease kind of everybody as far as the smokers and the non-smokers. Now, speaking of the Carnival Celebration, we do have a quick update as she has officially been floated out at the Meyer Turku shipyard over in Finland. Now, this will be the latest LNG powered ship for Carnival Cruise Lines, sister ship of the Carnival Mardi Gras, and she will be doing her inaugural sailing out of Miami in November. Now, personally, I'm going to be there because the Carnival Mardi Gras is without a doubt, at this point in time, my favorite ship. I've been pretty open with most of you about all that. If you saw my videos on board the Carnival Mardi Gras, you saw that I had an absolutely amazing time, and I'm expecting no less on board the Carnival Celebration. This will also mark the 50th anniversary for Carnival Cruise Lines. They're calling it the Celebration, which is pretty catchy. I'm just overall pretty excited. If anybody's going to be on that ship with me for the inaugural sailing, please let me know in the comment section below. Alright, so let's sail into some Royal Caribbean news, as they have come out and announced that they are aiming for 100% occupancy on board their ship for the Alaskan cruising season. Now, this is very big news. I'll explain why in a minute, but you have the Vice President of Carnival Cruise Lines, Josh Carroll, come out and say that this is going to be the biggest season for the Alaskan cruising season for the brand. He's saying it's going to have the most ships, and it's going to be expecting the most demand that they've really ever seen. Now, that is obviously to be determined. We'll see what happens. But as far as the demand, he also went on to say that that is going to be determined by the health and safety protocols protocols. That's also going to be determined by the people, the audience, the passengers, the guests that are willing to sail on board their ships. Now, obviously, I believe that the COVID restrictions are going to play a major part in that, so we'll have to see what kind of happens. But I say this is a big deal because if you look at them aiming for 100% occupancy for Alaska, what is going to become of the entire fleet that is sailing potentially in the United States or even around the world? I would assume that they are probably going to have like a target, a focus, that being Alaska, but they're also going to look at their other ships because just keep in mind, they still have the Odyssey of the Seas, which is a fairly new ship that has really yet to sail 100% occupancy. Well, not really, it hasn't sailed with 100% occupancy. We also have Wonder of the Seas debuting on March 4th, which I would assume their newest and the largest ship on the entire planet, they are going to want to aim for 100% occupancy. Obviously, like I said, it's going to be determined by all of the COVID restrictions. So obviously we will have to see, but I am very optimistic and I believe that Royal Caribbean could potentially get the job done so long as we don't have any other situations with Omicron or anything of that nature. So finally, as we sail into our last topic for today's video, if you guys wouldn't mind hitting that like button if you're enjoying the video, it just kind of lets YouTube know that this video didn't suck and maybe it should promote it out to more people. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. That way you can stay updated whenever I post my cruise news and other videos that are usually pretty cool that aren't cruise news. Now, we got to talk about Australia. Now, we all know that they had recently put an extension on the cruise pause, just an additional 2 months up until April 17th. However, they are now talking about the potential for international cruising coming back even before these 2 months are up. Let me explain. So over in Australia, I didn't know this, but they have something called the Biosecurity Emergency Period. This is all part of the Biosecurity Act of 2015, which means if they are in some type of a biosecurity emergency, some type of health emergency, cruising is automatically shut down, along, of course, with a lot of flying restrictions and masking policies. All this stuff is implemented, and this is all dated and kind of set back in 2015 in the event something happened like a pandemic. Now, this is why we have the stuff that we have as far as the restrictions over in Australia. Now, a lot of people would argue over in Australia there are more restrictions than there probably need to be, especially when you look at the overall situation objectively, globally, with what's going on with the pandemic. But either way, obviously, everywhere is going to do their own thing. Every government is going to kind of handle the pandemic and the situation as they see fit. Now, when it comes to the extension for the cruise pause operations over in Australia, there is a possibility that it could potentially get revoked before that end date of April 17th. This could happen if they reevaluate the situation, be it, let's say, Omicron. We all know that Omicron has been declining, and that was also the projected path of Omicron. Things are starting to get better, just like how we see a lot of places that are ending restrictions, including masking policies and passports and stuff in parts of like Europe and other parts of the world little by little. I do believe that Australia could potentially review this before the 2 months are up and say, you know what, we're going to go ahead and do away with this cruise pause. We're going to reassess and we'll let a couple ships go ahead and start, or maybe they'll do something similar to what we saw in the US with the test sailings, which obviously we know it was a train wreck. I don't know how they're going to do it. I hope they don't do it that way. Maybe they'll let a ship or two go out and just kind of go from there. But either way, guys, I'm going to leave it all up to you. What do you think? Do you think there is a legitimate and real possibility that we could see cruising happening over in Australia within 2 months? Just, of course, let me know in the comment section below. I am going to wrap this video up, guys. I have a couple breakdance clips at the end. I have to get ready for my competition. I got to get a COVID test. I got to get my bus to get ready to go back to Cancun tomorrow for my root canal, which I'm not very excited for. But I hope all you guys are doing well. I do have a video coming out possibly tomorrow. I'm going to try my best because I got to be at the dentist at 8 a.m., which means I have to leave Playa del Carmen at around like 5 or 6 a.m. So I'll do the best that I can, I promise. If not, I will get to it as soon as my teeth heal. If I'm feeling okay the next day, then I'll get right back to it. But I appreciate every single one of you guys. On your way out, of course, smash that like button, subscribe, share my video so more people can see it, and I'll see you all later. Take it easy.
Rock it, baby.